Our challenges for the nation are the uncertainty of the markets. This whole fight over the debt ceiling further spooked the markets and business investors who might take some of their record profits and invest them in the United States, in R&D and capital and in new hiring. And as long as they're not clear what the path forward is for Dodd-Frank implementation in financial services regulation, or for the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, the sweeping change to the health care regulations that's currently being implemented over the next couple of years, they are really hesitant to make greater investment. I think if we can make progress between now and Thanksgiving, as I just referenced with the super committee, in pulling together a tough bipartisan deal, that'll inject some real confidence into the markets more broadly and encourage business leaders to invest. Our problem isn't profitability. American corporations are showing, many of them, record profitability. And until the recent weeks, the Dow really made some great progress this year. We remain a country with a great workforce and lots of reasons to believe in our long-term prospects and our long-term future. Our problem is employment and getting Americans back to work. Many companies are choosing to either invest overseas or to invest in productivity, but not to hire people permanently and in good jobs. That's what I'm trying to focus on. What are the changes in tax, trade, immigration, education, research and development that we need to make to encourage long-term job creation that'll get some of the folks who've been unemployed, not just for a month or two, but for 6 months or a year, back to work?
And I think a lot of people who see there's a disconnect between the record profitability you were talking about and those people who don't have jobs. Is the record profitability at the expense of hiring people, and companies are running so lean now to make the profits as opposed to keep the country running?
It's complicated and it varies from industry to industry, but broadly, yes. What's happened over the last decade, we've seen lots of American manufacturing jobs move overseas. We've seen more and more service jobs going overseas. And in part because of our tax code and because of our trade policies, we still reward companies for doing that financially and then punish them if they try to bring the profits they've earned overseas back to this country. And it's going to take some difficult bipartisan compromises to craft changes in our tax and trade policies that allow multinational companies to reinvest in America, but also allow small companies here access to credit and the opportunities to grow that they're looking for. Many of the small business owners I meet with say that they've got opportunities, that the economy is beginning to grow again, but they can't get loans. They can't get the community banks, the credit unions, or the big national banks to look better at them and to invest in them because, for understandable reasons, the financial industry is still reeling from the impacts of 2008, 2009. They have higher capital requirements, they have tougher regulatory structures, and they're not lending at the rate that we'd like them to. I am urging the local banking community to invest. I'm trying to connect folks who are looking for jobs with job opportunities. We've hosted 2 job fairs. We have a 3rd one coming up shortly. But I'm also trying to help connect small business owners, folks who want to grow, want to employ people, with the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and with the network of really great credit unions and community banks we've got here in Delaware that want to lend.
We want to talk about manufacturing. I know you were talking about having more things, we were saying manufactured in America, but you want things to be made in our state.
Yes.
It's
great if they're manufactured in America, but I really want them made in Delaware.
How are you going to draw, or how will you attract companies, and some big companies, to start more manufacturing in Delaware? Because I know Senator Carper says that's one thing that Delaware kind of lacks. We have the tourism, we have corporations, but we need more manufacturing. So do you have an idea of how to bring that in?
One of the things I've been doing the whole time I've been a senator, but particularly this month, is visiting manufacturing plants, large and small. I recently took a tour of the PPG plant in Dover. That they make most of the paint that PPG sells to homeowners and consumers around the whole country. I've toured the Kraft plant, the ILG plant. I've toured very small window manufacturers and metal fabrication plants, and I've toured some of our largest manufacturing facilities. And there are different strategies at different levels. One thing that's just not widely known, there is a federally provided resource in the Delaware Manufacturing Extension Partnership that every manufacturer I have visited, from Pat's Aircraft in Georgetown to one of the small light manufacturers in Newport I was just at, they all have taken advantage of DMEP, the Delaware Manufacturing Extension Partnership. which, like ag extension, which goes back to the Depression, goes to small manufacturers, small, medium, or large, and helps them apply modern techniques to managing their inventory, to being more productive, to using tools called 5S, Lean, and Six Sigma to make their manufacturing operations more sustainable, more competitive, more profitable. And this is at no charge to them. This is a federally provided consulting resource. It allows them to compete and win in the international marketplace. And I'm trying to make sure that we make available to Delaware businesses trade opportunities, tax opportunities to the extent they're there, access to financing, and a great workforce. I had one manufacturing company lead say to me, you know what, all these other things are great. The tax incentives, the trade, the consulting with DMEP, but if you could just work with the governor to make sure that the kids coming out of the high school here in this town are trained for the modern workforce such that we can employ them immediately. We'll do the rest. Help us get a qualified, educated workforce for the long term. I asked if he's happy with who he's able to hire now. Yes, he is. But long term, you know, from Newcastle County to Sussex, I hear that's one of their key concerns is making sure that we're improving our education system for the long run. So I think there's a whole menu of things we can do. Manufacturing jobs are worth fighting for because they consistently pay better wages, come with better benefits, and are more sustainable. In my view, we are continuing to invent things in America at a record rate. And I've made I've advocated for some changes to our patent laws and how we operate our patent and trademark office to encourage that. But if we just invent things here and then they're made overseas, we're losing in the long run. We need to invent them here and make them here.